All right, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Bakersfield Business Partners podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and the past president of Bakersfield Business Partners. We're a BNI chapter here in Bakersfield, California, and we're a group of professionals and we network together every week, and we're helping each other grow our businesses through referrals, through education, and also through relationships. And honestly, I can say without a doubt, we have the best group in town. And that's because we have such great members. So we started a podcast. We wanted to highlight our membership. And so today we have Kimber here with us. Good morning, Kimber.
Good morning, Duncan. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Kimber, just really quick, introduce yourself and the company you work for.
Okay, I'm Kimber Line, and I work for Asure Software, which is a human capital management company.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
I've been there for 4 years, in the industry for over 25.
Okay, a little while.
So
Not your first week.
No.
Now, what were you doing before you were in the industry?
I was actually working for a staffing company, and I was doing some headhunting. So
Okay.
I would look for talent for corporations.
Okay.
So
And now that you're with Asure, really what is your role there with Asure? And tell us more about Asure, what they can do.
sure. So I'm a sales exec. I manage some territory. I'm based out of Bakersfield, so this is my home.
Valley girl.
I am a Valley girl, so to speak. And so what Asure does is that we are, as I said, we're a human capital management company. We work with small to mid-sized employers to make sure that they have the resources that they need to find talent, retain talent, do their HR compliance for all federal and state regulations, payroll, time and attendance, and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, you said a lot there, right?
I did.
So payroll, some HR compliance, and then other compliance. Mm-hmm. You must have a big team that helps you manage all that.
I have a great support team. So I work with a group within California, but I have a great support team that does operations. I have a terrific HR support team that has multiple years within the HR industry. They're SHRM certified. So it's not just me. It just looks like me, but I have a really awesome team behind me.
Yeah. And you must know a thing or two. I mean, you've been in this industry for a little while, 25 years. And before you're with Asure, you're with, was it Benefit Mall? Who were you with again?
I was with Benefit Mall.
Okay.
I had spent 10 plus years there.
And kind of in the same role, right? A similar
Exactly.
role?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And really, you've kind of been, if you had to like narrow your business down or simplify it to one thing, would you say it starts with payroll mostly, or where do you usually get in the door?
Well, right now it does start mostly with HR compliance because California is absolutely on fire with laws that are coming down for small to mid-sized employers.
Yeah.
And then it rolls into other questions. I like to say I do a discovery call. It's just an informal conversation. We talk about their pain. We talk about what they're looking for. And then I look at all their processes, and then I try to find a solution that's going to meet their needs. We can cut the fat if we need to, because we know that the pandemic has changed the way business does things forever.
Right.
So we need to save a dollar wherever we can.
So tell me, I mean, what is a typical client, or maybe even an ideal client for you? Like, what does that look like?
10 to 15 employees. They are looking to do some health benefits, which is where you come in.
Yeah.
They're looking to maybe create a handbook. They haven't done that before. That's a really important piece, especially for California legislature. They are also looking at the mandates that are coming down. They have to do a threat assessment for safe shooter. They have to comply with the retirement mandate. So 10 to 15 employees are really the sweet spot, because they're the forgotten size. Mm-hmm. They're not big enough.
That's kind of that business size where the owner's still kind of running everything. They don't have an HR person.
Exactly.
They probably don't have a payroll person.
They're wearing a lot of different hats.
Right.
Some of them are actually forfeiting a paycheck so that they can reinvest into their business.
Right.
They're looking for key employees. They're trying to retain employees. We know what the labor market looks like. Yeah. And so they really just need some help, and they don't need to be sold. They need to find a solution.
So it really makes sense now what you said. I mean, human resource capital management. I mean, really in all areas, finding employees, keeping them, making sure you're following the rules. I love that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's just doing what's best for the client.
Of course. What is it, do you think, sets you apart from your competition?
Well, one thing is just years in the industry.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that I stay up on all of the, most current information. I'm a big advocate of education. And honestly, once a client moves over with me, I'm their account manager, so to speak. So they have access to me by phone, text, or email as long as they're with us. And that means I'll take your call on Saturday at a ball game. I'll find an answer for you on Sunday afternoon. And that is a huge differentiator.
I love that. I mean, I just have to tell a personal story. You referred a really nice couple to me. They were turning 65. I helped them sign up on Medicare, and they came to my office and said, "Oh, how did you find me?" And they said, "Well, Kimber referred us." And I said, "That's great." I said, "How do you guys know Kimber?" And I'm paraphrasing, I'm summarizing. They said, "Well, we had a business. We ran it for 25 years or something." And they said, "Kimber helped us every step of the way, and she is a fighter, and she was always an advocate for us." And they're like, "We love Kimber."
Oh, that's awesome.
Now look,
Thank you.
I tell that story. Yeah, no, I'm happy to tell that story because I think everyone kind of says the same thing, like, "Hey, we have good customer service." But there's kind of a very few people that really back it up, And so I was so highly impressed by that was an unsolicited comment from them. And anyhow, it was kudos to you. I mean, really, that was great.
Thank you.
So, all right. So we could probably park here for a long time. The question is that I usually ask people is like, what advice would you give your typical clients, right? Or maybe what pitfalls do you see the typical client making, right? That you could give some pointers, free advice.
Okay. Yeah. So, one of the things that I say to them up front, there's no judgment because they're doing things the best of their ability and you don't know what you don't know.
Meaning you come into a situation and maybe they're scared of like, "Hey, we know we might not be following the rules. Help us." Is that kind of what they're saying?
Absolutely. Let's say that I go into a plumbing company. They know how to do their job really well.
Right.
I don't know how to be a plumber. So, we each bring strengths to the table.
Sure.
And we look at everything through the lens of an entrepreneur. I've been a small business owner. I've been on the other side of that desk. I know what that feels like. And the burden can be really heavy. So I just say to them, look, let's just look at everything. I'm just going to find anything that has a loophole or maybe where you're not finding capital, whether it be through tax credits or whether it be through funding, and how that, we can make this fit your need. And unlike other payroll service providers or, HCM companies, I'm not there to sell them. I'm there to find a solution. And we talk about a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, they are like, "Okay, so what's the first step?" And then I give them that first step and say to them, "You just need to do what's best for you. And here's what my advice would be. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to provide that, kind of advice. I'm not a health broker."
Right. So, I mean, essentially, it's hey, be honest with Kimber. Open up to your professional, right? You're
Absolutely.
there to help them out.
Right.
So probably then, is it safe to assume that a lot of those customers, they're in violation or out of compliance in some way, right? Because there's a new law that came about. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the problem with that is that there's no white paper from those agencies most of the time to really give them knowledge. So if they have 4 employees, but they had 6 on their last DE9 for the state of California, now they're out of compliance for the retirement mandate, the sexual harassment training, and so they don't know that because they think, well, I don't have 5 employees. That's not always the case.
Not how it
we have to
works.
look at the look back period.
So let's talk about some of these laws. You've kind of touched on them, laws or codes or whatever. What are some of these major ones that are affecting small businesses? So like sexual harassment training.
Yeah. So
who has to do that?
So the anti-sexual harassment training is for an employer with 5 or more employees.
Okay.
The Cal Savers, or the mandatory retirement plan for in the state of California, is for 5 or more employees.
Okay.
Keep in mind that December 2025, that number is going to drop down to 1 to 4. So those are the 2 that are hitting the small companies.
Now, how do they determine how many employees you have?
They look at that based upon your state tax returns for your payroll. So it's called a DE-9.
Is it full-time employees, or is it just
it's 5 employees or more?
just 5 employees at all?
Yes.
And is it per quarter, per year? Do you know?
They actually look at the quarter,
Okay.
but we know that it could be ebb and flow, right?
Yeah.
Because of the economy, it's hard to find workers. So let's say that they have 7, then they drop down to 3, then they go back up to 4. It's going to look at that look back period. So it's within that calendar year, tax year.
And then maybe going a little bit bigger, like in group size, what are maybe some of the other major laws that affect small businesses?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So 10 or more employees, July 2024, they must have a safe shooter threat assessment plan in place under California. There are other states that are putting the similar types of regulations in place. COBRA, obviously, if you're offering health insurance and you have an employee that terminates or voluntarily quits, you need to have the COBRA plan in place. And so we will provide all of those pieces. That's why I prefer to work with brokers that are local, because people want to talk to someone, they want to get more information, but we can provide all those services as well.
And what about payroll? I mean, you guys obviously must keep people up to date on like the new wage laws and stuff that are going on.
Absolutely. Payroll, we will do certified payroll and prevailing wage payroll, which is a whole different animal.
Okay.
So we do that for the construction industry, and that could be that they have 3 employees, but they're doing certified payroll. So they still need to do
Who
that.
needs certified payroll?
Anyone that's working on a job that is under the Davis-Bacon Act. So,
Okay.
and they're going to know that because
They would know. All right.
because they're going to have to bid on those jobs.
Okay. The Bacon Act, that makes me hungry. Like, I think, okay. These people cooking.
It's not just the Bacon Act, but it's time for breakfast.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you have a really cool role, maybe similar to mine in that you get to advise, these small business owners, which that's such a great group of people. I feel like that's kind of like the salt of the earth people.
They're invisible to a lot of larger companies, and that's unfortunate because I like to help people, and I really enjoy when I can bring solutions to the table that brings them capital back into their business so that they can see their return on investment.
Yeah. You've helped some other businesses with the employee retention tax credits, is that right? Mm-hmm. Is that still going, or is that kind of done?
You know what? There was a moratorium September 14th where the IRS pulled back. They had a rush of returns that they needed to stop and really do some investigation. So
was there some fraud going on?
There was a lot of fraud going on. And so one of the things that we pride ourselves on with Asure is that we are the premier processor for tax credits. And so we will take power of attorney so that we can track that status of those tax credits with the IRS on behalf of those clients.
Wow, that's nice.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is big.
And so we've done millions in tax credits for clients. I've done millions on my own. And so that is still ongoing. We don't have a deadline set. They were going to stop it in April. I know it went that the House passed it to stop it, and then the Senate declined to pass it. So it's still ongoing.
Interesting.
And it's a day-by-day situation. Other tax credits that are available for small businesses are the Secure Act 2.0, which is related to the 401k.
What is that?
They will be able to take a tax credit if they implement a 401k plan under the federal government, under that Secure Act 2.0.
How much tax credits do they get? I mean, do we know?
They could get up to $5,500 a year for a 3-year period.
Geez, just for starting a 401k?
Just for setting up a 401k. And there are some, thresholds and some formulas that when we sit down with them, that I'll walk them through to show them exactly what, and what their tax credit looks like, as well as we will provide them 1 year of free payroll.
Wow.
So it does bring an incentive to the table for them to have some money up front. Those tax credits through the Secure Act 2.0 can actually completely pay for those, admin fees.
Yeah. Do you guys run work comp through your payroll too?
We have a pay-as-you-go team that we can do that, but I can work with, local brokers as well.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Asure. We've kind of talked about what they do and all their capabilities, but could you give us maybe some background on Asure and maybe how they're different? I mean, I like this Asure story. You guys seem like a good company.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have been in business for, many, many years. We are a publicly traded company. So we have that background. We're part of Amazon Web Services. There's a lot of security there. We have taken the payroll service provider model and have completely expanded it to what we look at when we sit down with a client is, like I said, we do look at that through the lens of an entrepreneur. So we work with them based upon what their client needs are. And we have expanded that band of, services from just doing payroll and some HR and some tax filing to where we can help them with, tax credits. We can help them find lending. We work with several companies that we can help them to get lending. We work with companies that can do earned wage access. So if employees are living paycheck to paycheck, which is really common, especially if you buy groceries, then, we can help them to have those employees access their income ahead of schedule. We can provide all types of benefit, services. So it went from just providing payroll to here's what we see small businesses needing and how we can fit that model.
I mean, you guys obviously must have like a pretty extensive software team.
We do.
To make all this work.
We have a great software team.
Yeah. I've dealt a little bit with your software team, and I've been very impressed by that. And I mean to say that you're a big company, you're publicly traded, but when you dealing with Asure's kind of felt like dealing with like a mom and pop. Like they're very flexible. They're like, well, what do you want to see? And so it's been refreshing a little bit, which is nice, because that's kind of what you get when you work with a small business. It's more custom, more tailored solutions. So
it has a local
cool
footprint. I mean, it has that feeling. And that's why when we say we look at the lens through as an entrepreneur, we want that client to be with us, to move with us, to grow with us. And so we're, wanting to build that to a customization. And we have multiple platforms. So we have, the small to mid-sized business up to about 500 employees.
Yeah.
And we also have an administrative services organization, which we call an ASO, where we do the maintenance on the back end. We handle all of that, updating. And so the client really gets what's best fit for them, not what's best fit for me. And I think if you look at it from the perspective of how much commission am I going to make, you're not doing the best thing for the client.
Yeah. Perfect. I love it. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's kind of shift and talk about our chapter, our Bakersfield business partner, B&I group. How long have you been a member of the group?
I believe I'm going on 3 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And tell me just, if you could, like, how has it helped you and what do you like about the group?
I was looking for a group and I just really couldn't find one. And I've been in B&I before, so I know the value that it brings. So I have a friend that her name was Michelle and she moved out of state. But she's, we just connected back on LinkedIn and we had lunch. And she said, I'm in this group. And I said, let me try it. And what I found when I got there is that we are all very much like-minded. We have the same philosophy. We want to work with integrity. We support each other. And we do it better than any other group I've seen. We work like a well-oiled machine. And I think that is something that when you find that, you stay with it.
Yeah.
And that's how I found it. I found everybody was genuine. They care about their clients. They want to do what's best for their community. And that's huge.
Yeah. So the motto of our chapter of B&I, is givers gain. And we really kind of take that seriously in our group. And what Kimber's saying is we all truly believe in it and we try and follow it, as best we can every day. And ultimately, I think it's why we have such strong membership, and it's why people stay so long in the group. It's what's very attractive to our group, and it's just made us very strong. We stayed together. We stayed strong during COVID, when other chapters were kind of dwindling down and fading away. We insisted on meeting, supporting each other every week, passing referrals, networking. And some of those COVID years were some of our best years for the group. So have you seen, has it had a positive impact on your business, on your bottom line?
Absolutely. And I'm very thankful that I was able to find that group. I feel like it was a God thing,
It was.
I'm a praying Christian, and I don't mind saying that. And so I believe that when you ask the Lord to lead you into divine relationships, he does.
I love it. Perfect. Well, look, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, a small business owner, and they're like, wow, I probably need some advice from Kimber. She's got all this HR and just human resource experience. How would they get a hold of you?
They can reach me on my cell number, and it's the same number I give my husband and children, so I will answer that phone. It's 661-569-1911. They can reach me by email, and it's easy, kimber.line@asuresoftware.com.
Perfect. Well, Kimber, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a happy Friday.
Thank you, Duncan.
And until next time, we'll close this one out. And if you'd like to visit our chapter, we meet Tuesday mornings at 7:30. We're a group of professionals and we pass referrals to each other. But we're also educating each other on our industries. And we also build really strong relationships. I think that's what Kimber's talking about. We support each other when there's something going on. We support other members of the group. So great group. I think I've been a member for 10 plus years. Come check us out. The name of the group is Bakersfield Business Partners. And this is our podcast. We're closing off for today. So thanks again. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.